You know, you did the video, and thanks to Brian and Cindy and doing everything, and Deborah, as always, to do the Zooms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a nice time. I think we've all enjoyed it for this time. And I know a lot of you, some people that had joined us originally in this, Bill Bishop has passed away, and I just thought it might be nice because he always enjoyed a glass of wine. And maybe if you have something, raise your glass, please. And here's to Bill.
Sometimes.
Okay, well, the way this works, as everyone knows, is I'm going to go ahead and show the video. We're starting with Sauvage Spectrum, and then after the video, we'll go ahead and let Patrick say anything else he'd like to say, and people can go ahead and then ask questions.
How's it going, guys? My name is Patrick Matashevsky with Sauvage Spectrum Wines. We're here today in the middle of our winery and our tasting room, which is the same thing. So we started this company over a year ago. This entire lot was vines all the way out to the road here, and we pulled out the vines, built this building a little bit over a year ago. It's myself, I'm the winemaker, and we partnered with the wine grower, Sauvage, who's been supplying the Colorado grape industry for over 20 years now. And he's a big name if you're looking for premier, high-quality Colorado Grand Valley fruit. So yeah, we got together, and we were really focused on, trying to fulfill this niche of how can we make an affordable Colorado sparkling wine, and we did that with our Sparklet. This iteration here is rosé. These sit on the liquor store shelf at $20 a piece or less. So what we try to do is really capture the fruitiness, the fun, and the affordable aspect. These are not champagnes. We're not trying to make champagne. It's not brioche. It's not nutty. We're really trying to capture the fruitiness. They're really cool. They got a crown cap on them. Really great design. And it's been a hit with our targeted market, which is basically anyone over 21. So we've been doing a really great job, we think, and we hope you guys like these and enjoy this wine as well. So another wine that we're really excited about is our Domain Red Blend 2019. What we have here, these are American cold hardy varietals that were developed and bred in Minnesota for cold hardiness. Our valley gets quite cold in the wintertime. So these were planted as an insurance measure. And, we felt that winemakers were having, some issues trying to figure out how to make these wines. But we're super excited. We have Verona at 31%, we did a whole cluster carbonic maceration like they do to the Gamay in the Beaujolais region. And it brings out this awesome black cherry, this fruit aspect that blends with Petit Pearl at 69%. So Petit Pearl, beautiful grape on paper. The numbers look really close from a chemical analysis to Vitis vinifera, but it's not. It's American Cold Hardy. It's the weight, it's the body of this wine, and it brings forth a really cool German chocolate cake type flavor. So you put that black cherry with the German chocolate cake, it makes a really incredible wine, and 100% American. It's really fun trying people on this and getting them, you know, to try something new. It's like an American Chianti. It's got a touch higher acid, really low tannins, great food wine. And like I said, it's just amazing to turn people on to these grapes they would have not normally tried. So that's another wine we're really excited about and to be making here under this roof. Coming back on, how's it going? How's it going, guys? Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys including us. I love Paonia, so I'm really excited to be featured among you guys. And yeah, it's Sparklet. It's just a super fun brand that we tried to make. We actually sold out of this iteration, so hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and those are some of the last bottles. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. We do keep the blend proprietary. But yeah, any questions, shoot them my way. I'd love to answer.
Well, I'd kind of like to know how the process is different from regular wine with the Sparklet.
Yeah, so with sparkling wine, you know, there's really 3 ways essentially to make it. We do pet nat as well, if you guys are familiar with that. So that's capturing the primary, the fermentation. So before fermentation ends, if you cap it, you'll get bubbles. And we do one of those as well. And you'll see more and more of those coming out of Colorado now. Second way I would say is method champenois, you know, which is going to probably go to retail $45 to $50, $60 bottle, you know, and that's making a base wine. And then after that base wine is made, add sugar, add yeast, and do a re-fermentation in the bottle. And then you're going to disgorge it. It's just all this, a bunch of labor, you know, very intricate procedure on that. So ours is more similar to the beer method, believe it or not, where it's injected into a high rated pressure tank. But we brought in a special tank, and you know, I spent a lot of years making canned wine, so I figured out how to not make what I think is terrible wine that you would put in a can. So we really take our time, try to make a nice base wine. We're really focused on the fruit flavors. Again, like I said, not the brioche, the yeasty, savory flavors. We want to showcase the fruit and the florality that you get off of this, such as the bubblegum, hibiscus, those kind of flavors. But yeah, we have a pressurized tank that really lets us exceed expectations as far as normal carbonation that you would find in very slow process. It's more akin, I think, to Prosecco than it is to like a carbonated wine, in my opinion. But you can have your own on that. We really do put a lot of time into finishing it, but it is finished more similar to a beer, about double the pressure at least. Nobody else.
Patrick, can you, my wife is asking, can you describe your background and what you've been doing prior to this?
Yeah, so I started in this industry in a brewery at Breckenridge Brewery downtown Denver, and excuse me, that's where I learned, you know, kind of learned the craft, and then I got picked up from there by Ben Parsons when he started Infinite Monkey in like 2012. He was already going for a little bit, so I learned a lot of things there, maybe what to do, maybe what not to do. Learned a lot about the industry though. And then you know, I was able to really understood how to kind of build wineries. So I started consulting for Carboy Winery, and I did that on the side. And then I became a partner, and I actually opened Breckenridge Carboy Winery in Breckenridge and did the remodel up there. This whole time, though, I was making wine and buying grapes from Kaibab over here in the Grand Valley. So utilizing that partnership of like, we're going on 9 or 10 years now of just buying fruit from him. You know, he kept saying, man, I'm having these really great years, you know, a couple years back. And, you know, I have grapes that aren't being sold. They're hitting the ground. So we started playing around with some research and development products, and it spun into Sparklet, and it spun into this whole business where he said, you know, I need my own winery. Will you come on board, be the winemaker, and partner with me? So that's how I ended up here. And it's been exciting.
Can you explain that panel truck you got outside? What's
Yes.
the significance of that?
So that was in this guy, his name is Harry. He's got a Viognier vineyard over here that we farm, and pretty much most every winemaker who's been through that vineyard has had their eye on it because it's a super cool 1957 International Metro, and it's just been sitting there collecting dust. So once we had the chance, Kaibab traded them for a couple cases of beer, and we got it on our property, and we cut a hole in the side of it, and we're gonna start building it into our mobile tasting room, drop the transmission, drop the motor out. So we're super excited to bring some life back into it. Just an old cool truck on the vineyard.
And did I understand you to say that the blend is proprietary and you won't share with us the grapes that are in it, or is that, am I misunderstanding that?
No, you got it. Our Sparklet, we're still kind of keeping under wraps because we want to pay back some loans before maybe some other people start doing it. But they're, you know, they could be Vitis vinifera, they could be American hybrids. You know, a big tip I'll give you is that what makes up the base of this wine is a very big black grape that's extremely floral.
So I would suggest that as a parting thing to do tonight is for those who know more than I about the wines in Colorado, all try to take a guess at what the blend is.
And they win a case.
I'd love to
And then
know.
they win a case.
And then they would win a case. Whatever. But it's interesting my reaction. I think you're right that I do in some ways think that it very much is a little bit like a Prosecco. What I find about it is the bubbles are really big, as opposed to, say, some of the champagne that I've drunk, or even the Prosecco for that matter. And I wonder, maybe that's completely silly to say that sort of thing. And is it perhaps something to do with the fact that your method is similar to beer?
Oh, I think you're spot on. You know, you can't mimic those tiny bubbles that you get in a fermentation from Champenois. So, you know, we really try our best. I really take my time. You know, a lot of breweries are going to go in there. They're going to carbonate their beers first thing in the morning, and they're going to blast CO2 through it for an hour or two. You know, our process takes weeks to try to keep those bubbles in there. And what's cool about our product, though, it pours a mousse, you know, it pours a little head on there, and the bubbles stay beating. You know, they don't just blow off like some other products. So yeah, we kind of try to mimic it, you know, but you just can't reproduce it unless you're doing a re-fermentation in the bottle. I think you're exactly correct.
I have a question. Are you the only one in the Grand Valley who's doing sparkling?
No, I think there's a couple other people and they're
Oh.
doing, these more traditional methods, but
I see.
Champenoise or something, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I think we kind of pioneered this affordable bottle, anywhere from $20 to $24 at the liquor store. And it's the process that I learned through my career of beer and canned wine is really what I think is how we are dialing in our process.
Patrick, where is your winery and your tasting room located?
So we are at 676 38 and a quarter Road, Palisade. So it's just east before you go up East Orchard Mesa to Talbot's, but it's right there in the Vinelands. So if you guys know Kaibab, it's one of his vineyards where the Malbec, Petit Verdot, Roussanne grow. It's right east of downtown Palisade.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Patrick, what are the other wines that the vineyard sells, that the winery sells, or produces and sells?
Yeah, so we we probably have about 11 wines now. We do our Sparklet series. We have an effervescent white that I'm gonna bottle the next iteration here in a week or so. The rosé will come back out in spring. We do Domaine Red, which is that one that was in the video. Really interesting hybrid grapes. Let's see, I have a Reserve Red, we call it, which is 77% Malbec, 23% Petit Verdot. So it's that real big Bordeaux kind of style wine. I do have two pet nats. So I have a white sparkling wine that's natural, and I have a red sparkling wine that's natural, and they're very unique, different wines. I urge you to try them if you guys are into something, those kind of things. So then for our wine club, we do a lot of single varietal, small batch bottlings. I do Roussanne, Gruner Veltliner, Terral de Go, which is the one that's a lot of people are pretty excited about. I have a couple different Malbecs. We're going to come out with a Malbec that we aged in American heavy toast oak, and it's pretty phenomenal. I'm super excited for that really big spicy Malbec. But yeah, we just do whatever we want, whatever comes in, we're going to make wine out of it. But we're pretty dialed in on our SKUs that are going to wholesale, such as Sparklet. We're really looking for the kind of consistency there, but really playing around on the back end and giving our wine club members some really unique wines.
Patrick,
Patrick,
this reminds me.
Patrick, I see this as a really fun wine that would appeal across generations, and I also appreciate that you're experimenting around with what's available and not going down the mainstream, if you will, because I think regional wines, Colorado wines, need to set their own standard and express their personality. This is a very nice drinkable wine. I would look for having a few bottles of this in the summer to sit back on the porch and just enjoy with friends. And I would think that's the market of really having a fun wine like this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. When people like it, I'm really happy. I'm excited. So thank you guys very much.
Patrick, how do we join your wine club?
So we offer it online. You could go to www.sauvagesspectrum.com or come in and see us, because we'd love to take care of you guys and roll out the red carpet and try to impress you as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Patrick, two questions.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. You mentioned a couple other sparkling wines. do you use the same method as the sparklet for those other sparkling wines and then the natural wines?
Yes.
Are
So
you consistent every year with those natural wines? I mean, hard.
we're on our second bottling with the natural wines, and so it's also one of our sparkling as well, and that's ancestral method. It's also known as Pet Nat, and we just call it Pet Nat. And I have Pet Nat white, Pet Nat red. It stands for Pétillant Naturel. In French, it means naturally sparkling, and that's the one where we literally capture the fermentation near completion. There's still a little bit of sugar, grape sugar left, and we just go ahead and bottle it with a crown cap. So I do have 2 of those available right now. And they are, I mean, kind of fairly consistent. For whatever reason, I let the white get a little bit riper, and I get some really interesting like pineapple notes. It's also a little funky, my white, and you'll get a little bit of acetic, almost like some cider, sour beer flavors. And I've found people really enjoy it who like beer. It's kind of a crossover product, and you know, those are yeasty, they're hazy. There's stuff in the bottom of the bottle. Terraldigo is the only red I've done natural, and it's only because I had half a barrel and I released it young. No sulfites added, nothing going on there, just Terraldigo. So I do have that, and that's for our wine club members only as well.
Patrick, this reminds me both in taste and color a bit of a wine my son started producing 2 years ago, I think. But he called it orange wine. Is that, would you relate that to yours?
To the Sparklet right here?
Yeah, to the Sparklet.
No, it's more of a direct to press rosé. That's cool that he's doing the orange wines. You know, I just don't know how much of those really sell. They're super unique, super interesting. But this is a direct to press rosé. So it's red grapes that go directly in the press. And we just go ahead and press them off.
Thank you.
Yep. The orange wines, they tend to have some tannin to them. I don't know if you guys have had much of those.
Yeah.
What defines an orange wine? I've never heard that before.
They're really interesting. They're white grapes fermented like the reds, you know, usually punched down and on the skin. So you're pulling some skin tannin, and usually everyone I've had is extremely acetic, very, very, very funky. But I'm sure there's some really good ones out there.
Well, it's interesting what you said, Patrick, about your about the sour notes that you got from the pet. I think you said, yeah, the Pet Nat, because I had a Traminette this year that I bottled, and there was a little bit of residual sugar in there. And I didn't do it on purpose, but by the middle to late summer, it was fizzy.
Awesome.
And many of my customers said, "This reminds me of sour beers," you know. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I bet you'll do that again, wouldn't you?
And for those of you in the Peonia area who really like this Sparklet, since he's sold out, I do have 8 bottles left from this sale in my cellar. So you don't even have to go to Grand Junction or some other liquor store to get it if you really want another bottle.
You want to send that to New York, Brian?
Yeah, save one for us.
Patrick, I'm wondering, what's your capacity? Like how much wine do you produce? And do you sell it anywhere else besides in your area?
Yes. So we did, in our first year, we did about 5,000 cases, which was way more than I expected because I was just going to do this part-time, but then it's become a full-time job for me. And yeah, we're self-distributed, about 80 accounts. And I was just in Denver this past week and driving up and down Boulder to Colorado Springs, all through the mountain towns. And we're trying to get it out there. So we are, but you know, we'd love to sell direct, and
join our wine club. I think it's the best way to get even better wines.
So how does your wine club work?
Well, we just ship or pick up 3, 6, or 12. Right now it's quarterly, and we're going to add a monthly pickup, and hopefully having parties. What's really cool is that we're hopefully planning, some type of events starting May 1st, and our county will let us do that. So we're just hoping to get some stuff on the schedule and get people safely together again. Hopefully, if everything is going in the right direction. So yeah, just on our website.
So your focus, so is it safe to say that in preceding weeks, we've heard, I think I've heard that many of the wineries are selling the bulk of their wines through their tasting rooms locally at their vineyards. Does that not characterize your sort of business model, that you're really out trying to have these wines sold in a variety of stores around Colorado?
So we're actually doing both. We wrote the business plan to be actually 100% wholesale. We weren't going to do any tasting room sales. And then March last year rolled around, and the sales fell off. So we opened up our sales room, our tasting room, and unbeknownst to us, it's become over 50% of our revenue. So it's, and to build a wine club, and I get to talk to the people, and they're very excited. I like it better. I like it better than the wholesale. The wholesale is a game where you're kind of pimping yourself out,
Yeah, you're competing for space on the shelf. Yeah.
What's your what's the actually for most of it, what's your business if I walk into your tasting room, do I have to pay to taste?
Yes, we do paid tastings. They kind of range as the wines come and go. But the way we do it is if you buy 2 bottles, we waive the fee. And a tasting is roughly like $1.50 a pour, or you can taste all of them for $10, something.
And a pour is like an ounce.
Yeah, about an ounce.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but we're super excited to get the wholesale out there, and get the front range, hopefully hooked on the product and whatnot. But it's so much more interesting, I think, to sell through the tasting room, and I do like it much better, honestly.
And how many wineries are in the Grand Valley?
Does anyone know? I think there's got to be like 40 over there.
Is it really that many? Versus in the North Fork Valley, how many are there? A dozen? Yeah, 10. 10. Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We're New Yorkers, so we don't know about this.
Now, I have a question.
Yep.
Vic, are you one of the big ones, volume-wise, or are you? What are you in the Palisade area? Where are you located?
So we did 5,000 cases in the first year, but I think that's kind of medium sized, I would say, and we did not try to be medium sized. That's what we did. So I would say we're small, medium, small, medium.
All right.
So in previous weeks, we've heard about disease that's hit the vineyards, and we've also heard about the challenges of frost and the cold, and what can you say anything about that with regard to your vineyards and your production?
So as far as the phylloxera is what I think you're talking about.
Right, exactly. Phylloxera, yeah.
So we do grow and sell a lot of American cold hardy varietals, which are not affected by phylloxera because they're on American rootstock, which is kind of cool. But I mean, we also have Vitis vinifera out there. And Kabab, my partner, he could fill us in much better because he's the grower. But as far as I understand, maybe we do, but I don't think we have phylloxera in the vineyards. I haven't heard of it. I haven't seen it. I've seen it before, and it sure wreaks havoc. So, it's definitely a concern. And we are using American rootstock, I think, on all new plantings as well, from what I understand. Yeah, and the frost definitely, if you're talking about the October last year weather event, it's really affected us really a lot. But luckily, a lot of the American cold hardy varietals should make it. But there's a lot of people around us who are just ripping their vineyards out already, and what I think probably waiting till spring, from what I understand, is a smart thing to really do.
Yeah, my understanding from previous weeks is that if you had phylloxera, you'd know it, and you wouldn't be quite so sanguine about it. You'd be tearing your hair out a little bit about it. So
yeah,
You don't have phylloxera.
you don't have phylloxera, at least the way we've heard from other vintners in previous weeks.
Yeah, their yield just diminishes. Year after year. It's like by year 3 or whatever, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's a real challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Glad you guys, I hope you guys liked it all or liked the wine.